What would you say to someone, like, if you were trying to help them understand a little bit more about, like, why health is more than how they look?
Well, I think that it's so easy for people to assume that health has a look, right? That we can look at somebody and presume what their health is just based on their appearance. And I think that's so driven by our culture. And so, but the reality is that health is so much more than that, and we can't tell someone's health just by their appearance. And I think some of those things that we can look at as a culture and assume that it defines health might be things like youth, weight, right? Whether or not we can notice. So thinness, right, is what's idealized as healthy. Whether or not we see visible muscle tone, right? But there's so many things under the surface, I think, that really contribute to somebody's health that we can't always see. So there might be things like illness, stress, mental health. There might be behaviors with food and exercise that are really disordered. And so there's just so much more to it than that.
So, like, what if health isn't, like, how we look? What would you direct people towards of, like, helping them to understand then, like, what is health?
Yeah. Well, I think what we want to do instead of focusing on appearance is we want to focus on how we feel in our body. And I think that's how we can practice, that's how we can practice putting that into motion in our own lives. And so we can do that through different ways, right? We can challenge comparison, right? We can honor our body and listen to it when it's asking for rest, for food, for what it wants for movement. I think we can do those own practices in our lives and promote health in that way.
Yeah, and I think that's important because I think that it's like almost like if we determine like health based on just like one thing, then we're forgetting like the general aspects of like how someone actually feels overall.
Exactly.
But also that maybe like even health can't be just defined by just how we feel, because that can fluctuate so much as well. And so it's like knowing that just because we're having a bad day or feeling more tired doesn't mean we're unhealthy.
No, certainly. It might be your body asking for something, and we can practice health by listening to it and responding to it, right?
Yeah, I think like if I was to define health for someone, my definition of how I would encourage someone to reflect on it is like, ultimately, health is like eating food that makes you feel good, that nourishes you to do the things that you love, and gives you the energy that you need. Paying attention to like what's going on in our body, what our body needs, giving ourselves like compassion and like moments to pause and slow down, and like engage in the things that like fill us up, and honoring like the challenging moments, and like holding stillness of like being able to take care of ourselves as a whole, not just like from one small perspective.
And I would agree. I think looking at all those various aspects and how they all contribute to our overall health.
And like knowing that switches so like much throughout our lives based on like where we're at, the capacity that we have, and it's okay that it doesn't have to look the way it's looked in the past, but it can like become something bigger or something smaller. It can meet us where we're at.